The anomaly Admiral Varick's 6 compound eyes blinked in rapid succession as he studied the holographic display. The Arxian commander's chitinous exoskeleton clicked softly as he shifted his weight, antennae twitching in agitation. "Confirm these. Readings," he ordered, mandibles clacking with each syllable. Science Officer Thalia glided forward, her translucent form rippling with bioluminescent pulses of concern. As a Medusan, she required no physical interface with the ship's systems. Her consciousness merged directly with the sensor array. "Confirmed, Admiral," she responded, her voice resonating melodically through the command center. "The energy signatures from the Sol system are unprecedented. Our long-range detectors indicate a massive power source being constructed within Earth's orbit. The output exceeds anything in our historical database." The command center of the Vigilant Observer, flagship of the United Galactic Council's monitoring fleet, buzzed with activity. Representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations operated at their stations, their diverse physiologies adapted to the ship's modular design. "Humans," muttered Grand Marshal Korzak, his massive reptilian form casting a shadow across the central platform. The Drakari official's scales flushed a deep crimson, a sign of agitation among his kind. "I warned the Council about them. Barely. 3 centuries into their interstellar phase, and already they violate the Treaty of Proxima." Ambassador Larissa of the Elysian Collective raised a slender, 4-fingered hand. "We must not rush to judgment, Marshal. The treaty limits weapons development, not energy production. Perhaps this is a new power generation system." "That generates enough energy to shatter a small moon," Korzak snarled, baring razor-sharp teeth. "Don't be naive, Ambassador. The humans are preparing for war." Admiral Varick's antennae straightened, a signal for silence that even the most obstinate council representatives respected. "Speculation serves no purpose," the Admiral stated. "We will follow protocol. Long-range monitoring will continue while we convene an emergency session of the Council. All species with diplomatic ties to Earth will be represented." On the main view screen, a real-time image of the blue-green planet rotated serenely. Impossible to discern from this distance was any hint of the colossal energy signature that had triggered alarms across 17 civilizations' monitoring stations. "Send the alert," Varick commanded. "Priority Alpha, all Council members to assemble at Harmony Station within 3 cycles." Harmony Station, a massive orbital construct located in neutral space near the galactic core, had never seemed so aptly named. Within its cavernous Grand Assembly chamber, representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations attempted to maintain diplomatic composure while barely concealing their alarm. High Chancellor Zorax of the Council stood at the central podium, his crystalline body refracting light in complex patterns that conveyed his concern more eloquently than words. As the oldest sentient species in known space, the Lumidians served as arbiters in galactic affairs, their reputation for impartiality earned over millennia. "The evidence before us is troubling," Zorax began, his voice resonating through the chamber. "Energy readings from Earth have increased by orders of magnitude within a single solar cycle. The Human Alliance has provided no explanation, despite repeated diplomatic inquiries." Ambassador Krell of the Volocris Imperium rose from his gravity-adjusted seat, wings folded tight against his avian frame in a gesture of formality. "The Imperium's position is clear," he announced, his beak clicking sharply between words. "The humans must immediately disclose the nature of this energy signature, or face a unified blockade of their system." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, particularly from the militaristic factions. The Drakari delegation pounded, scaled fists on their consoles in traditional shows of support. Ambassador Lyra of the Solarian Concordat, Earth's closest ally, stood in response. The diminutive humanoid skin shimmed with photosynthetic patterns, a biological adaptation to her species' binary star system. "The Concordat urges patience," she countered. "Humanity has been a trustworthy member of the galactic community since first contact. They have honored all treaties and contributed significantly to interstellar science and medicine. Whatever they're developing, A blockade would only escalate tensions unnecessarily. High Chancellor Zorax's crystalline form pulsed with calming blue light. We must proceed with caution and clarity. The Council will dispatch a diplomatic mission to Earth, accompanied by a defensive fleet, as a precaution only. Ambassador, Lyra, your government will inform Earth of our approach. We expect full cooperation and transparency. The Council voted overwhelmingly in favor of the mission. Even species traditionally aligned with humanity recognized the potential threat of such immense energy production. If Earth had indeed developed a superweapon, the balance of power that had maintained peace for centuries would be shattered. 3. Cycles later, the most impressive armada ever assembled under Council authority converged at the designated rendezvous point just beyond the Sol system's Kuiper belt. The flagship Luminous Harmony, a Lumidian vessel of breathtaking elegance, led the formation. Behind it, arranged in perfect tactical order, were dreadnoughts, carriers, and battlecruisers representing 17 species, their diverse designs reflecting the unique evolution and engineering philosophies of their creators. On the command deck of the Luminous Harmony, Admiral Varric conferred with High Chancellor Zorax and the assembled diplomatic corps. Scanners confirm the energy signature has stabilized, Varric reported. It remains active but contained within Earth's orbital defense perimeter. And their response to our communication? Zorax inquired. Ambassador Lyra stepped forward. Earth acknowledges our concerns and welcomes the diplomatic mission. They request that only the Luminous Harmony proceed to Earth orbit. The rest of the fleet is asked to remain at the current position. Grand Marshal Korzak snorted derisively, a jet of steam escaping his nostrils. Unacceptable. This could be a trap. I concur with the Marshal, Admiral Varric stated. Military protocol dictates a minimum security detachment. High Chancellor Zorax considered for a moment, light patterns shifting across his crystalline surface. We will bring one vessel from each major council faction, a show of unity rather than force. The remainder of the fleet will maintain position but remain at highest alert. The decision made, orders were transmitted throughout the Armada. 5 vessels detached from the main formation: the Lumidian Luminous Harmony, the Arxian Vigilant Observer, the Drakari Flame of Retribution, the Medusan Thought Eternal, and the Solarian Stellar Concord. As the diplomatic squadron accelerated toward the inner solar system, tensions remained high. Weapon systems were primed, shields raised to maximum power, and fighter squadrons stood ready in launch bays. Whatever humanity had created, the united forces of the galaxy were prepared for any eventuality, except perhaps for what actually awaited them. The diplomatic squadron decelerated as they approached Earth's orbit, communications officers reporting a message from human authorities directing them to a specific coordinates near Earth's moon. As they arrived at the designated position, sensors detected a small vessel departing from Earth. Visual confirmation, announced the Arxian sensor operator, magnifying. On the main view screen appeared a ship that seemed impossibly small compared to the Council vessels, a sleek silver craft no larger than a standard diplomatic shuttle. This cannot be right, Grand Marshal Korzak growled. Where is their fleet? Where is this weapon they're building? Admiral Varric's compound eyes narrowed. Scan for cloaked vessels or hidden weapon emplacements. Moments passed as the most sophisticated sensor arrays in the galaxy probed the surrounding space. Nothing, Admiral, reported Science Officer Thalia. No cloaked vessels, no weapon signatures, no unusual gravitational distortions. Just that, single ship approaching. The small human vessel came to a stop before the assembled diplomatic squadron, its polished hull reflecting the distant sunlight. A communication request pinged across all 5 Council vessels simultaneously. Accept transmission, ordered High Chancellor Zorax. The view screen shifted to display a human female with dark skin and silver-streaked hair. She wore a simple blue uniform bearing only a small insignia, Earth's unified government symbol. Greetings, representatives of the United Galactic Council, she said, her voice calm and measured. I am Admiral Diana Chen, Special Envoy of Earth. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to the Sol system. High Chancellor Zorax moved forward. Admiral Chen, the Council has detected unusual energy signatures from your planet. We have come seeking explanation. The human admiral nodded. Yes, we anticipated your concern. That's why I've come, alone, to demonstrate what we've created. Grand Marshal Korzak stepped into view, his imposing reptilian form dominating the screen. You come in a single unarmed vessel to face 5 capital ships. Either humans are more foolish than I thought, or this is some kind of deception. Admiral Chen smiled slightly. Neither, Marshal Korzak. What we've created cannot be understood through traditional concepts of military power. With your permission, I would like to demonstrate. High Chancellor Zorax's crystalline form pulsed with cautious curiosity. Proceed, Admiral Chen. But know that any aggressive action will be met with immediate response. The human admiral nodded solemnly. Understood, Chancellor. No aggression is intended. You might want to ensure your sensors are recording at maximum fidelity. What you're about to witness will change the galaxy forever. The small human vessel began to emit a soft, pulsing light. On the sensor displays across all 5 council ships, energy readings fluctuated wildly, then stabilized into patterns that defied conventional physics. And then, to the astonishment of every being watching, the impossible happened. The revelation Grand Marshal Korzak's scales flashed crimson as he slammed a clawed fist against the tactical console. Weapons lock on that vessel now, he roared. Belay that order, countered High Chancellor Zorax, his crystalline form pulsing with authoritative light patterns. Admiral Chen, explain what we're witnessing. The human vessel had split itself into 5 identical copies, each positioned directly before one of the council ships. Sensor readings confirmed the impossible. These weren't holograms or projections, but 5 physically identical vessels occupying different points in space simultaneously. What you're seeing is the practical application of quantum harmonic technology, Admiral Chen explained, her image displaying on all 5 council vessels simultaneously. We call it the resonance drive. Science Officer Thalia's translucent form rippled with excitement. Impossible? You've achieved macro-scale quantum entanglement? Not exactly, Admiral Chen replied. Rather than forcing quantum effects to scale, up to our level we found a way to harmonize conventional matter with quantum principles. The result allows us to manifest a single object across multiple locations simultaneously. Admiral Varick's compound eyes narrowed skeptically. If this is merely a demonstration of transportation technology, why the energy signatures that triggered our sensors? Because this is only the beginning of what the technology can do, Chen answered. With your permission, I'd like to continue the demonstration. High Chancellor Zorax considered for a moment. Proceed, but our weapons remain targeted. The 5 identical human vessels merged back into a single craft, the process defying every known law of physics. Then a soft pulse of energy emanated from the vessel, not directed at the council ships, but expanding outward in an ever-widening sphere. What is happening? Demanded Korzak, watching his tactical displays with growing alarm. Nothing harmful, Admiral Chen assured them. Simply a resonance field that allows you to perceive what we've actually been building. As the energy wave passed through each council vessel, their sensor arrays automatically recalibrated. The view screens shifted to display a structure in Earth orbit that had been completely invisible to their sensors moments before. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a fleet of warships. It was a massive ring-shaped construct surrounding the planet, composed of interconnected modules that pulsed with the same soft light as Admiral Chen's vessel. This is the resonance array, Chen explained. It generates a quantum harmonic field that extends throughout our solar system. Within this field, physical laws can be adjusted. Adjusted? Echoed Ambassador Lyra, her voice filled with wonder. You mean you can alter the fundamental nature of reality? Within strict parameters, yes, Chen confirmed. The energy your sensors detected was the array coming online for the first time at full capacity. Grand Marshal Korzak snorted dismissively. A clever illusion, nothing more. If this device could truly do what you claim, you wouldn't reveal it to potential adversaries. Admiral Chen's expression remained calm. That's precisely why we're revealing it, Marshal. This technology is too significant to keep secret. It will fundamentally change how all species interact with the universe. We wish to share it with the Council. Share weapons technology that could destabilize the entire power structure of the galaxy? Korzak growled incredulously. Do you take us for fools? Perhaps a more concrete demonstration would be helpful, Chen suggested, before anyone could respond. The Drakari dreadnought flame of retribution powered up its main weapons array, target locks engaging on the human vessel. Korzak, shouted Admiral Varric, stand down immediately. The humans lie, snarled the Drakari Marshal. This is clearly a deception to hide their true intentions. One blast will expose their trickery. As energy built within the dreadnoughts, primary cannon, Admiral Chen sighed. I had hoped to avoid this. Please note that what follows is defensive only. The human vessel emitted another pulse of energy just as the Drakari weapon fired. The devastating plasma beam, capable of shattering. A small moon erupted from the dreadnought's cannon. But instead of striking the human vessel, the beam twisted in space, folding back on itself in a perfect loop before dissipating harmlessly. Silence fell across all communication channels as the assembled representatives struggled to comprehend what they had witnessed. The resonance field allows us to locally alter the propagation of energy, explained Admiral Chen into the stunned silence. We can redirect force, modulate energy patterns, or even temporarily suspend certain physical interactions altogether. Science Officer Thalia recovered first, her form pulsing with scientific curiosity. But the power requirements must be astronomical. That was our initial assumption as well. Chen nodded. But the resonance effect actually becomes more efficient at larger scales. The array surrounding Earth requires less energy to operate than the drive system on my small vessel. Admiral Varric's tactical mind quickly grasped the implications. If what you say is true, this technology renders conventional weapons obsolete. Shields, energy weapons, even kinetic projectiles could be redirected or neutralized. Precisely, Chen confirmed. Which is why we're not approaching this as a military advantage, but as a fundamental shift in how we all interact with the universe. The resonance technology has applications far beyond defense. On each Council vessel's screen appeared a series of demonstrations. Asteroids being gently repositioned without physical contact. Devastating solar flares harmlessly redirected away. From populated worlds, and perhaps most impressively, a small vessel traveling between distant points without apparent movement through the intervening space. Instantaneous transportation? Breathed Ambassador Lyra. You've solved the lightspeed barrier? Not exactly, Chen clarified. The vessel isn't moving faster than light. It's creating a resonance between 2 points in space-time, essentially, existing in both locations momentarily before resolving to the destination coordinates. Grand Marshal Korzak had fallen silent, his tactical displays confirming that the flame of retribution had suffered no damage, despite its weapon systems temporarily failing. His scales had shifted to a muted blue, a sign of deep contemplation, among the Drakari. High Chancellor Zorax moved to the center of the command deck, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns that indicated intense calculation. Admiral Chen, he finally said, if humanity possesses technology of this magnitude, what prevents you from using it to dominate the galaxy? Why reveal it at all? Chen's expression grew solemn. Because the resonance technology cannot be monopolized. Once established, the principles will become apparent to any advanced scientific community. We could perhaps maintain exclusivity for a decade, 2 at most, before other species reverse-engineered the process. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. We faced a choice: keep it secret and trigger an inevitable arms race when it was discovered, or share it openly and work together to establish protocols for its use. We chose cooperation. A noble sentiment, rumbled Korzak, finding his voice again. But forgive my skepticism. Throughout galactic history, no species has willingly surrendered such advantage. Admiral Chen smiled slightly. Perhaps that's why the resonance technology emerged from Earth. Our history is filled with technological advances that could have been weaponized but were instead shared. From vaccines to nuclear energy protocols to atmospheric restoration techniques. Humanity learned long ago that technology serves us best when its benefits are distributed. Science Officer Thalia drifted closer to the view screen, her translucent form pulsing with rapid thoughts. The applications would be revolutionary. Planetary defense without massive fleets, disaster prevention, efficient resource extraction without environmental damage, medical applications I can barely fathom. Exactly, Chen nodded. Which is why I've come with a formal proposal from Earth to the United Galactic Council. We wish to establish a joint commission for the responsible implementation of resonance technology throughout Council space. High Chancellor Zorax's crystalline structure pulsed with deliberative patterns. Such a commission would require unprecedented cooperation between our species. Yes, Chen agreed simply. That's precisely the point. For several moments, silence reigned across the communication channels as the implications settled upon the assembled representatives. I move that we reconvene the full council to consider Earth's proposal, Ambassador Lyra finally suggested. This clearly exceeds the authority of our diplomatic mission. Admiral Varric nodded his chitinous head in agreement. Concurred. This matter requires the input of all council species. Even Grand Marshal Korzak did not object, though his reptilian features remained fixed in a grimace of cautious calculation. Very well, declared High Chancellor Zorax. Admiral Chen, we accept your proposal for consideration by the full council. The diplomatic squadron will escort your vessel to Harmony Station. Chen inclined her head respectfully. Thank you, Chancellor. There is one more aspect of the resonance technology I'm authorized to demonstrate if you're willing. Something that may help convince the more skeptical council members of our sincerity. Proceed, Zorax permitted, curiosity evident in his light patterns. Admiral Chen touched a control panel on her vessel. A soft pulse emanated from the ship, different in frequency from previous demonstrations. What I've just activated, she explained, is a data transmission packet containing the fundamental principles of resonance technology. Not complete blueprints, but enough that your scientists can verify our claims and begin to understand the possibilities. The audacity of the gesture stunned even the most cynical representatives. No species had ever willingly shared such revolutionary technology without extensive treaties and concessions. You trust us with this knowledge? Admiral Varric asked, mandibles clicking in surprise. Admiral Chen nodded. Trust must begin somewhere, Admiral. We believe the galaxy stands at a crossroads. The resonance technology will either unite us in cooperation or divide us in suspicion. Humanity chooses the former. As the diplomatic squadron and the small human vessel prepared to depart for Harmony Station, communications officers across all 5 ships reported an unprecedented flood of messages from their respective governments. The energy wave that had revealed the resonance array had been detected across thousands of light years, triggering sensors throughout Council space. The galaxy was waking to a new reality, and nothing would ever be the same. The New Era 1 Standard. Year after the revelation of the resonance technology, Harmony Station had transformed. The once modest diplomatic outpost now served as headquarters for the Galactic Resonance Initiative, its original structure dwarfed by a massive ring-shaped addition that mirrored Earth's resonance array on a smaller scale. Within the newly constructed Grand Collaboration Chamber, representatives from 32 spacefaring civilizations gathered, the largest cooperative assembly in known history. Species that had once been bitter enemies now sat side by side, united by the revolutionary potential of humanity's discovery. At the center of the chamber stood a holographic projection of the galaxy, with glowing points marking the 17 resonance arrays now operational throughout Council space. Lines of soft light connected these points, forming the beginnings of what scientists had dubbed the harmonic network. Dr. Ilara Takeda, Earth's chief scientific liaison, addressed the assembled delegates. The slender human moved with the careful precision of someone accustomed to low-gravity environments, her silver-streaked hair floating gently around her face despite the station's artificial gravity. "The Tarkasian array came online yesterday," she announced, indicating a new point of light in the galactic rim. "Initial calibrations exceed expectations. The harmonic network now extends to 28% of inhabited council space, with coverage expected to reach 60% within the next standard year." Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. Even representatives from traditionally isolationist species like the crystalline Lumidians and the gaseous Vox collective participated in the general atmosphere of optimism. Grand Marshal Korzak, now serving as the Drakari representative to the initiative, rose from his seat. The massive reptilian's scales shimmered with the golden hue of formal diplomatic engagement, a stark contrast to the aggressive crimson he had displayed during the first encounter with Admiral Chen's vessel. "The Drakari Imperium acknowledges the success of the Tarkasian implementation," he stated, his voice rumbling through the chamber. "Our scientists report that the security protocols function as designed. No unauthorized manipulation of the resonance field has been detected." This declaration carried particular weight. The Drakari, with their ancient warrior culture, had been among the most skeptical of sharing such powerful technology. Their endorsement validated the careful protocols established by the initiative. Dr. Takeda nodded acknowledgement. "Thank you, Marshal. Security remains our highest priority as the network expands. The distributed governance model ensures that no single species can control or weaponize the resonance fields." High Chancellor Zorax, who had overseen the initiative since its inception, rose next. The ancient Lumidian's crystalline form had taken on new facets over the past year, physical manifestations of the new concepts his species had incorporated from studying the resonance technology. While security concerns have been addressed, he noted, light patterns shifting across his surface, we must also recognize the transformative effects already manifesting throughout council space. The holographic display shifted to showcase a series of implementations. A Medusan agricultural world where carefully modulated resonance fields accelerated plant growth without genetic modification. An asteroid mining operation where resources were extracted without physical drilling. A Volucris colony where atmospheric resonance shields protected delicate ecosystems from solar radiation. Ambassador Thalia, her translucent Medusan form now bearing the ornate patterning of a senior council representative, glided forward. "Perhaps most significant," she observed, "is the effect on interstellar tensions. Border disputes that have persisted for centuries are being resolved through shared resonance infrastructure. Former adversaries now collaborate on joint implementations." The hologram shifted again to display a statistical overview. Military spending across council space had decreased by 37% in a single year, with resources reallocated to resonance research and implementation. Ship production had declined by similar margins, not from economic downturns, but from the simple fact that massive defense fleets were becoming obsolete. Why maintain costly armadas when a single resonance field could neutralize any conventional attack? Why fight over resources when the technology allowed for vastly more efficient extraction and distribution? Admiral Varric, who had transitioned from military command to serving as the Arxian diplomatic liaison, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully before addressing the assembly. "We must acknowledge the wisdom of humanity's approach," he stated, compound eyes reflecting the holographic display. Had they developed this technology in secret, the inevitable discovery would have triggered the greatest arms race in galactic history. By sharing it freely, they transformed a potential catalyst for conflict into a foundation for unprecedented cooperation. Dr. Takeda smiled slightly. "We had good teachers. The Council's model of shared governance provided the framework for the initiative. This has truly been a collaborative achievement." Her diplomatic modesty wasn't entirely accurate, and everyone present knew it. While the governance structure had indeed drawn from Council precedents, the revolutionary technology and the decision to share it had come from humanity alone, a species that, just a century earlier, many Council members had considered too primitive and aggressive for full membership. The irony wasn't lost on the assembled representatives. The youngest spacefaring civilization had fundamentally reshaped the oldest interstellar alliance in known history, Ambassador Lyra of the Solarian Concordat rose next, her diminutive form barely visible above the delegate stations. As we celebrate our achievements, we must also address the challenges ahead. The socio-economic impacts of resonance technology are only beginning to manifest. The holographic display shifted again, highlighting regions where traditional industries had been disrupted by the new technology. Transportation conglomerates, weapons manufacturers, and resource extraction corporations faced existential threats as their services became increasingly obsolete. The transition must be managed carefully, Lyra continued. Some species adapt more readily than others. The initiative's next phase must include comprehensive transition support for affected populations. Grand Marshal Korzak nodded his massive head in agreement, another surprising development. The Drakari, with their warrior culture, had faced perhaps the greatest cultural disruption as traditional military prowess became less relevant in the new galactic paradigm. The Drakari support this initiative, he declared. Our warrior traditions run deep, but they have always emphasized adaptation. We are finding new expressions of honor in mastering this technology and protecting our allies through its implementation. High Chancellor Zorax moved to the center of the chamber, signaling a transition to the formal agenda. Before we proceed to specific proposals, there is one additional matter to address. Admiral Chen, would you join us? From a side entrance appeared the human admiral who had first revealed the resonance technology to the Council. She walked with the same confident bearing, though her uniform now bore the insignia of the initiative rather than Earth's government. Admiral Chen has submitted a proposal for the next phase of implementation, Zorax announced, one that extends beyond Council space. A murmur of surprise rippled through the assembly. The Council's jurisdiction covered less than half of the known galaxy, with numerous independent systems and several non-aligned powers controlling vast regions of space. Chen stepped to the central platform, her expression serious. The harmonic network has proven its value within Council space. The logical next step is to extend an invitation to non-aligned systems. The holographic display expanded to show the entire galaxy, with Council space highlighted in blue and non-aligned regions in neutral gray. Particularly prominent were the territories of the Vec Dominion and the Cenari Collective, powerful civilizations that had historically rejected Council membership. This would be unprecedented, noted Ambassador Thalia. Neither the Dominion nor the Collective has shown interest in galactic cooperation. Chen nodded acknowledgement. True, but the resonance technology offers benefits that transcend political divisions. Initial diplomatic overtures suggest both powers are interested, if cautious. Grand Marshal Korzak leaned forward, scales shifting to analytical amber. The strategic implications would be significant. If the Dominion or Collective were to develop their own version of the technology— Exactly, Chen confirmed. While we're confident that independent development would take decades, it remains a possibility. Better to incorporate them into the existing governance framework than to create conditions for competing systems to emerge. The chamber filled with overlapping conversations as delegates consulted with their governments through neural links and quantum communicators. The proposal was bold, potentially extending the greatest peace in galactic history far beyond Council borders. High Chancellor Zorax raised a crystalline limb for attention. The Council recognizes the logic of humanity's proposal. It aligns with our founding principles of inclusive cooperation. I move that we authorize a diplomatic mission to the non-aligned powers, offering participation in the initiative under the existing governance protocols. The vote that followed wasn't merely procedural, it represented a fundamental reshaping of galactic politics. Species that had considered themselves adversaries for millennia were now voting to extend shared technology to traditional rivals. The resolution passed unanimously. As the session concluded and delegates dispersed to their respective quarters, Admiral Chen found herself approached by an unlikely pair, Grand Marshal Korzak and Admiral Varric, once among the most skeptical of humanity's intentions. "A moment of your time, Admiral," requested Varric, mandibles clicking in the Arxian gesture. "Of respect," Chen nodded, curious. Of course. Korzak's massive form loomed over both of them, but his posture conveyed thoughtful consideration rather than intimidation. We have been discussing something that has puzzled us since your first demonstration. Perhaps you can provide clarity. I'll try, Chen offered. Admiral Varick's compound eyes focused intently on her. The resonance technology. Your scientific teams have confirmed it could have been weaponized. A focused resonance field could theoretically disrupt atomic bonds or create localized gravitational singularities. Correct, Chen acknowledged cautiously. Yet you chose not only to avoid weaponization, but to share the technology openly, Korzak rumbled. This defies conventional strategic thinking. Chen smiled slightly. Perhaps that's why the discovery came from Earth. Our history taught us harsh lessons about technological secrecy. Every time we tried to maintain exclusive control over a transformative technology, we nearly destroyed ourselves. From nuclear weapons to genetic engineering to artificial intelligence, each time the attempt to monopolize power brought us to the brink of extinction. She gestured toward the holographic galaxy, still rotating slowly at the chamber's center. We learned that truly revolutionary discoveries don't belong to single nations or single species. They belong to all sentient life. The resonance technology wasn't humanity's advantage to keep. It was the galaxy's future to share. Korzak's scales shifted to a deep blue of contemplation, a perspective that defies millennia of evolutionary competition. Or perhaps, Chen suggested, it represents evolution's next step. Competition serves a purpose in natural selection, but so does cooperation. The most successful ecosystems find balance between the two. Admiral Varick's antennae twitched thoughtfully. You believe the galaxy can become such an ecosystem? I believe it already has, Chen replied, gesturing to the unlikely trio they formed, human, Arxian, and Drakari standing as equals in conversation. One small ship changed everything, not through force, but through possibility. As they parted ways, the holographic galaxy continued its slow rotation, the connected points of light forming a growing network across its spiral arms. A silent revolution, sparked by a single human vessel that had arrived where an invasion fleet was expected. The galaxy would never be the same.